Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Chat in YouTube disconnected. Oh, new update. Successfully connected. What is up? We got Richard Jet in YouTube land. Good morning. Got a late start at work, so I get to watch you at home on the big screen. Oh no, I got the IMAX today. All right. What is up? We got Alex, we got Jay Nouse, we got Matt, we got Greg Hill, we got Jenny, we got Bill, Brian Thompson, Cindy's in the house. Good morning, David H. We got GWJ, we got Jill, Joe, Justin, Matt R is rocking with us. Of course, Michael Holt is rocking with us. We got Mike, Quantran, we got Sam, Terrence, Tony, Will. It's a Friday. Y'all could be sleeping in today. You guys could all be, every single one of you could be sleeping in right now. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that for sure. Let's see if we could get screen share for TradingView. All right, we got that up and running. Looks good. And the market is doing good. Cindy, what is happening? You got a little bit of a jumpy bull market today. Oh man, I just connected the dots. Not only is Richard Jet getting to watch me on a big screen, but he gets to trade from the comfort of his home. Ooh, nothing like trading in a nice, relaxed environment, as opposed to trading at work. Get the manager, the boss, looking over your shoulder every 2 seconds. You got that TPI report. No, man, don't. I quit. I've had enough. Look at oil dumping. I know is it CL in this one too? Or do I have to do that? I don't think I have to do that little slash. Yep, there we go. Oil below 80. Interesting. I know Biden, was 2 weeks ago, I think Biden said that he's going to be repurchasing oil. I think he said I think his exact price was like $77 or $78 for the reserves. So that might be coming in soon. It's finally getting there. I don't know. I still paid $4 at the pump yesterday. So somebody communicate with somebody. Something's slipping. Are you going to sell AMD puts if we pump bullish today? I didn't get there yet, Tony. It's Friday. I'm waking up. We'll get there. We will get there. So SPY, we are jumping a little bit on the SPY. I believe we had some kind of report this morning, but in all honesty, I didn't see what it was. Whatever it was, though, market did like it. It's Grumpy Friday for DJ. Cranky Fridays? Oh, maybe. All right. So we got 397.90 right now, pre-market. Again, we did rally yesterday. So let's cut this into a smaller time frame from yesterday just to see kind of what was happening. I was able to make a nice trade on the pullback. I think maybe it was Brandon that caught that. Somebody else caught it too, but I was able to get some puts that expired that day or yesterday right here. I wrote it down, of course, sold too soon. Sold them out here. It was like 100% profit, 100% return, which is fantastic, but I missed all that. So whatever. And again, so we did have some selling pressure. We do have some buying coming in at the end of the day, but we held up here the entire time I was on the mic before Johnny G. It was just kind of chop city. We knew it was a retest gap. It was just taking forever to retest. And then we finally got the breakout. This candle popped. I didn't see any news, honestly. The only thing that could correlate at that time, and I mean, maybe I'm attributing it to that, but it was oil, right? Oil at this time dropped below $80 a barrel right at that time frame yesterday. So maybe that was a decent sign, but then the strange thing was the dollar was moving the wrong way too. So otherwise, there was no other news during that big, massive kind of just breakout candle. We rocketed there for a little bit. And then the only reason I want to go short there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this looks like some kind of a retest. We had some kind of trend break, and we're very close to yesterday's VPOC. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I nailed that one, and really didn't trade anything else for the rest of the day, to be honest. But today, again, this would be a retest gap. The fact that we were gapping above two other VPOCs, pretty suspect. I know some of you other guys were there too, but I know we were looking at, I know Matt Orr was there with me, but we were looking at options that were expiring. This is on Monday. We were looking at the weeklies, and we said it's probably going to get pinned somewhere between 400 and 490 for the week. So we held that 390 perfectly, and then 400 we also held, I think, on Monday as well. We came right back into it. So honestly, $2.1 trillion expired today in options, and the markets do tend to want to not pay out on that. So think about that. It's 2.1. That's more than Sam Bankman-Fried lost. That's crazy. They all expired today. So I do expect some volatility, but again, in the SPY with the range, the most sold calls were at 400. The most sold puts were 390. That still gives us about a $10 range to jump around, but I do expect the market to probably get pinned in between there. That would give us max pain in the market, max pain. So we'll see what happens, but retest gap, we should have a little bit of resistance somewhere around 398.24, I would assume. And I don't see the market passing 400, or at least closing above 400. Would be very, very interesting to see if that does happen. But let's take a look at the Qs real quick. Looks like Oxy is a gap and go. Oxy. All right, we'll check them out. Let's flip this back to, let's go to hourly time frame. So Qs looking very, very similar on the Qs. At a little bit of resistance, we still have one. At this point, I mean, we kind of retested it with one candle, but on a wider time frame. We have a 292.19 that was never really retested. So keep that in mind. If we do break here, we might see a crazy bullish day that could rocket us up about $5 on the Qs. Otherwise, that should be a decent resistance. Technically, this is a retest gap, so I would be expecting that retest to come in. This could all be part of kind of its own wave count within the channel as well. So this could be a 1. This could be 2. This move is 3. We get rejected. 4. Make one new move high, either double top, breaks a little bit, and then this could happen, or maybe we do this, one of those two. But so after this, I don't know, but I would expect this is probably some kind of resistance that open. We get some kind of initial sell. Look for perhaps I would look for like 280, let's call it 286 as a good retest spot. So I'm kind of thinking a little bit short on the Qs. We'll see where this thing opens. But I'm thinking maybe fade the gap up. 286 is around the zone. I'm trying to get out of my shorts and look to go possibly long at that point. So we will see. And I don't remember if we looked at the options for the Qs, but let's take a look at it. Oxy real quick. For that gap and go. Oh, gap and go to the bearer side. Warren Buffett has a little bit of red in his portfolio today. It is a gap and go. Targets on this one is probably about 69, 60. That would be my initial targets. You also have this candle that wasn't retested as well. So we could make it somewhere close to about 67.83 today. If this initial first target breaks. So if you're going to go short on it, play that gap and go. I would be taking like 10% here. This was kind of a retest into this. So this one might be a little bit weaker, but I would take something off the table, possibly at that zone, just to just in case. And then 67, I'll call it 67.80 just to get a little bit ahead of that VPOC. But 67.80 would be the next target. In a bigger grand scheme of things, on Oxy, this is interesting. We do got 1, 2, maybe that was 3, 4, 5, and this was the ABC. If not, this is probably 3. I mean, sorry, that's probably 4, that's probably 5. And then this is us gapping down, starting a new trend. So we might be in a wave count down, just kind of retesting, get us back to here, and then reverse, which would be very interesting. And we do have on Oxy, keep in mind, you do have the Warren Buffett buffer. Every time it's going to get down to under 60, he's probably buying some more because he could do that. Are you getting to get snowed in this weekend? As of now, no. As of now, no. Past myself looking out the window to tell you what the temperature is and what the current forecast is. I don't know from that point. I think we are supposed to get, I think we're supposed to get it after Thanksgiving. So I think we still have a week ahead. But it did get cold yesterday. Like miserably cold. Matt says 54 in Florida this morning. I'm freezing. Stuff your stars in a sack, Michael Holt. It's like 20 degrees. 20 degrees here. With the wind, it feels like a negative 1,000. So I'm just going to stay in the house. That's what I play. I'm just trading all day. We got Tesla with a little bit of a gap and go as well. This one's to the bullish side. We got to see what happens at 187.27. That's going to be our first target. You can have it. Doesn't gap and go have to open below the wick? No, it's a Will says, doesn't the gap and go have to open below the wick? He's referring to Oxy. No, it doesn't. So if you have a green candle, I think I have a couple minutes, right? So let's say this is a green candle. We'll put a G in here. That means this candle opens here, and we'll even draw that wick on here, and close up here, right? So gap and go, technically it could open here, and you're still gapping down from that closing price, right? Which is still a gap and go. The problem with this one, and again, it's still a gap and go, but it's just not as strong because you're inside that candle. What makes it would be a little bit stronger is if now you're gapping below that opening price, which was here, of that candle, because now anybody that just bought from the opening price and wrote it up higher, they're trapping more people. And if the gap opens below the wick, now every single person who bought here, who bought here, all those people are trapped too. So if it traps out, they're all technically gap and goes, but the lower that thing gaps, I would give it almost like 3 degrees of separation underneath that opening price and underneath that wick would make it stronger. So here's an okay. This is better. This is great. Just on the basis of who's getting trapped on those trades. Yep. All right. So is it time to buy calls on Tesla? We were still below the 10 EMA. I almost bought calls yesterday on Tesla too. In hindsight, genius, reality, dummy. But we're below that 10 EMA. We did almost come down to finally retest that VPOC, which kind of had to happen. If you guys remember on the mic yesterday, I was like, I can make a really good case as to why we should be buying some calls down here. Just because even though it looks absolutely weak, that's the spot where you want to retest. And if you're just going pure risk to reward, I mean, your stop is going to be probably any close below here or below here. And then you have a decent amount of upside to kind of capture in a call direction of things. So would make sense. It is technically a gap and go here as well. It is technically also inside candle. And you do have VPOC sitting somewhere around 187.38. Probably, I would assume, a little bit of a chop zone. And then the higher we go, we're going to hit the pressure of that 10 EMA, which is, I don't know if we hit the 10 EMA today, honestly. So I think we still kind of chop in the Tessie. And we will see. We got AMD. So again, this is a retest gap. Was it Matt R? Now I forget. Somebody asked the question. I just yelled at him. Now I forget who it was. But Oh, it's Tony. Okay. Yep. Tony. Apologize for yelling. Caught me before 9:10. What happens? This is a retest gap. So if you're gonna try, I don't know if I would. It's got a lot of room to the upside, right? So if you're going to sell a call, I would actually probably just take it for today. $80 strike on a call today. See what happens. Because on this one, we're still above the 10 EMA. Not quite a bullish engulfing candle, but a little bit of potential reversal. This should have been a retest, and then you would look for this thing to fade. But we're going to be held up by that 10. So if I was to sell a call on this one, I'd probably want to wait a little bit, unless you're just depending on where you got in on AMD. So obviously, if you got in at somewhere around the $55, $60 range, and you're already profitable on these things, maybe you don't mind getting called away at profit. Okay, go for it. There's nothing wrong with selling it. If you got in a little bit higher or a lot of bit higher, I think there's some room for you to wait. This was the 50% retrace. I don't think that gets beat today. I don't think we break 80. I don't think we close above $80 today. So maybe at open, you might get some extra premium built in just because we are gapping up. I would sell ones that, if it makes sense to, if you're getting enough premium to sell the ones today. Otherwise, I'd probably just wait a little bit longer and see if we can get up to like that $85 range. That would be a really good spot. Sell the 94s, 95s, sell even the 92s, something like that. So see if we get up to that 618 would be a better retracement spot. Because again, this is still got a lot of room to kind of bounce before potentially I think another short could come in. Oh, you're asking if I was selling the puts. I was talking about selling calls. Not quite yet. No, not quite yet. Yeah, none of this. I mean, it's a retest gap. So if you're worried, you're probably going to get a retest to 73. You can probably bounce out of any puts that you have there. All right, we got Nvidia. As long as you got time on those puts, if they're expiring today, they're probably gonna be clapped at the open. If you got like 2 months on it, then anytime something gaps a little bit, you're trying to hold your overall position. Because if you have time on anything and you start getting worried because there's a gap, I mean, just look at the overall trends, right? So it's either this is the absolute bottom or there's going to be opportunities where we could probably get another even just gap down day, make something back. You could, if you want, you could hedge, right? So as you're retesting on AMD, you could probably come in and hedge those longer puts. So we know that this is, I mean, we're above the 10. We know there's a retest, so somewhere around the 73, 75 zone. That would be a spot to maybe get some shorter term calls and just see if we get, or, you know, I wouldn't, maybe next week would be the soonest I would take in terms of expiration. Buy a call or two, see if we get that balance, if we're getting a candle down there, and then try to make some money, hedge out, try to turn the puts you bought into free puts, and then you just have unlimited time. Just hold it until it either works or doesn't. Cindy says XOM, WSM, all gap and goes. All right, we'll take a look at those. We also have a good gap and go on Nvidia. Again, still inside candle as well. So what's going to happen? I don't know, but probably a little chop. 161.10 would be the spot. Again, we're still technically in a little bit more of a bullish sentiment, right? This is a good massive rip out of here. This is just kind of a pullback. It is a gap and go, so I'd have to put a little bit more emphasis on the bullish direction today. Question is targets is 160. I'm just going to call it 161, but somewhere in that 161 zone would be very, very interesting. We will see. Apple's right at the resistance. This is a retest, so I expect probably at least one candle to fade. Again, looks kind of similar. Double bottom, still making lower lows. If we start to break out of this, I'll even call it the wick. I don't think I have to, but somewhere around this 153.77 that at least will probably be one of the first times we actually get a new higher high, right? So that would be interesting if that happens. Otherwise, we are still at some kind of resistance. I don't know. They definitely watch those option chains today. Watch the options, see where the most volume came in on the calls, where the most volume came in on those puts, because my guess is they're going to try to pin them so none of those expire in the money. And I'm guessing a lot of those will probably come at nice round psychological whole numbers as well. So the whole numbers will probably play out a lot more today too. Still a little bit more bearish on Amazon. This is a gap and go. Let's just do one thing on this one. Is this a retest? Yep, this candle was right at the 50, little indecision high wave. So maybe it's time. We have to get above yesterday because that would also break the 10 EMA on the daily, but that was a good retest spot. Anybody throwing out a blind order at 94.91? You're in it, you're up a little bit. Still doesn't look amazing, but in terms of potential recovery, it's got some recovery written on it. Jesse loves freemium. Jay says, with the chop we have been having in extreme news, would you consider doing a strangle on the SPY earnings expiring today? You could strangle today. Yep. The ones that expire today, I think we end somewhere below 400 and above 390 if that helps plan out some strangles. We have a absolutely incredible amount of calls at 400, and so it's still a $10 range. But yeah, I don't see why getting outside of that realm wouldn't be a bad thing to strangle. All right, we got Delta, just kind of doing Delta things above a previous pivot still, so that should be a little support. Again, retest gap, but you are gapping also above that candle, and you got some resistance. Delta's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a very tough one to trade today. Let's go to XOM. Hold on, I got this thing I gotta move. There we go. So here would be our probably initial break. That's a good looking double top. If you got positions in XOM, I'm probably gonna buy some puts on XOM today. Again, it's been just absolutely incredibly strong. In fact, I'm going to buy some puts. This is our first. This was technically our first close below that 10. This is also a very good, decent double top look. And to see this thing kind of come down, especially since oil's coming down a little bit too, should make some sense. But I'll probably play it at least for a retest, maybe somewhere into like the 103 zone, so $7, and then maybe just take the profits on the puts and do its thing. But yeah, XOM is definitely I would say this is probably one of the better looking gaps. Again, we're still gonna have 110.19, and we're probably gonna have 109.12, but I kind of like the idea of buying some of those puts. It's a decent gap. Not a lot of volume yesterday, but besides that, there was obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 days of some other bullish higher volume. We're clapping all those guys. And yeah, if you're holding XOM, I'd probably be looking to get into some puts, at least for the retest, which I do have shares, so I'll probably be doing that today. WSM. William Sonoma. This is almost like an incredible gap, but there's all the volume. Yep, so it's definitely due to earnings. Obviously, there was some kind of miss. You are trapping a lot of people. There's only about 1 or 2 levels that could possibly save WSM. Definitely trapping a whole bunch of people in this one. This is one I'll be watching. Day trade wise, I've never day traded, so I don't know volume wise how it works, but just based on the amount of people getting trapped, again, you do have a little bit of support. I wish this thing was gapping anywhere under like 114.97, but that'd be the only other saving grace. Otherwise, it's not a good gap for them. Yep, I would definitely be continuing to look short on that. That's a gap and gone. Yeah. It went. It's not going to go anywhere. It already went. It's a fairly large gap for him too. PayPal. So I would expect on WSM maybe a couple of green candles, some kind of an initial retest, just based off the size of that gap, and then I'd be looking to go short. PayPal. It's a gap up, but it is also a retest gap, and you're right at support. I would expect this one to fade at open. Expect to fade probably about $1, $2, yeah, about $1 to the downside. All right, we got 3 more minutes left. STNE. STNE from my boy Manuel. Okay, Stone Go. High volume here on earnings. Okay, volume the day before. You're clapping all those guys. That looks pretty solid. Again, a little bit of resistance, $11.44. How much has this one been beat up? You've just been kind of, you have an upper range of a channel up here somewhere, so $11.97. Yeah, I thought this one was much higher. I haven't looked at this in a while. That's a decent looking gap. They've seemed to beat now 3 quarters in a row, which is decent from their massive every single quarter. Looks like they were missing. Man, these guys, you're at they've been chopping sideways for a minute. Overall, the longer trend of things, even if you're coming back into a longer term, probably support resistance, that's going to take you to about 1727. So swing trade basis, maybe. We got to get out of that little chop zone, but that is a nice gap today, though. It's a decent looking gap. Lots of volume. That should all act as some kind of support. Should be some room maybe for a swing trade. At least in a worst case. PANW. PANW. Palo Alto. That looks like a decent gap as well. Yep. Where's that high volume? Man, if we open anywhere above 170, 177, this thing could fly. There's our downtrends in it, broke, retest, gapping above. Yeah, maybe this might be one of my favorites. But unfortunately, we are just about out of time. Or, well, technically the day's about to begin. So like they got people in the all access pass. Don't go anywhere. This is not for you. I know some people are like, oh, day's over. Not yet. Still got 30 seconds just for the bell. Unfortunately, everybody in YouTube land, this is the time where I got to unfortunately cut the cord on YouTube. I do appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. Make sure on the way out, you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not already. That's how you can stay in contact, get the notifications for the latest content and videos that Real Life Trading creates. Otherwise, we'll check you guys out on Monday. Be safe today. Again, 2.1 trillion. Make sure you guys are aware of your positions and what expires today. Wrap up any loose ends, and I will catch you guys all tomorrow.